Photoshop comes with many different types of brushes that you can work with. And anytime you bring up the brush palette, you can see that they have many different styles. Ones that were just the traditional ones, like the soft circle with the soft edge, or maybe a hard edge one, with a very crisp edge to that. They also have ones for painting and also for airbrushing. Hey, you even have grass, give the effect of like create fields, or maybe even like it's fall with leaves. You can do all kinds of stuff with brushes, as you can see. Now you can even go through and add in different ones for calligraphy or for like dry media brush effects. If you've ever done painting and type of stuff, you'll know a lot about a lot of these types of brush types. But anyway, the one thing that's really cool that a lot of students like to know about is how do I actually create my own custom brush? It's actually very simple to do. Now I'm going to have this little drawing that I made here earlier, which is a little black and white drawing of this foot here. But say I want to draw it in a fifth toe. So I'm going to create a hard edge brush here, circular brush. I'm going to bring in a circle about 130 some pixels and then just draw in the last toe here. Okay, now we got our foot and we want to turn this into a brush that we can use as either kind of like a stamp, so we can stamp it, copies, or we can even just paint with this. Hey, if you want a brush that looks like you're painting with a foot, you got it here. So let's go ahead and click the selection tool and we're going to select the brush that we want to make, which is this foot, and then go edit and define brush preset. Boom, you got it. You can now type in a name for our brush. As you can see, our brush is going to be 1540 pixels at maximum. That's its size. And let's call our brush Bigfoot. And then click OK. Cool. Now in the brush palettes, you'll notice at the very end of it, there's our brush. Ta-da! As you can see right there. Now, before we use it, let's go ahead and bring up a blank document here. Wow, our brush is big because we have it set to 1540 pixels. Let's go ahead and shrink this down so it's a bit smaller. Hey, look there. We can now start painting footprints onto this. Ta-da! Or if you want to, you can click and drag. Make some pretty cool looking patterns there. Ta-da! So you can do all kinds of fun things with brushes. You can draw grass, make leaves, create your own stars. Hey, smiley faces. Whatever you want to make with it, you can draw it and you can turn it right into a brush. Sometimes students will come to me and say, hey, well, in the last example, you drew that foot. What if I don't have the greatest drawing skills? I could take a picture of something, but I don't know how to draw it. For example, like a palm tree. Say you didn't know how to draw the palm tree yourself, so you wanted just to be able to take a picture of the palm tree and then convert that to a brush. How can you do it? It's actually very simple to do. And it's actually very true that a lot of times people that either are in photography or whatever may have great skills in one area of art, but they may not necessarily have the best refined skills in other areas. And so, hey, there's no problem with that. If drawing is not your greatest strength, you can always go through and use Photoshop. Hey, it's a great tool. So let's go ahead and show you how to do this. Now we got this picture of this palm tree and we want to convert the palm tree to a brush, but we don't want this background in it. So how can we get rid of this background? Well, the best tip I can tell you is this. Go to Select, Color Range, and then directly in here, make sure that invert is turned on because that shows you that we want everything but the sky. And basically to select all the sky colors, you can then hold down the Shift key and just put little samples across the screen. Just click, 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 click. And so Photoshop knows all about the colors of blue that you don't want. And as you can see here, here's a little interesting thing. Photoshop already figured it out. It looked at our image and says, oh, you probably don't want the sky, but you want the palm tree. It kind of guessed already. Hey, sometimes Photoshop cheats a little bit. It says, I already got it for you. Here's the palm tree. It's already done. But in case if Photoshop doesn't recognize it for a picture, you can always hold down the Shift key and then click in the areas that you don't want, and then that isolates it. Click OK. And there it is. Your palm tree is now selected for you. You can now copy this to a new image, but one tip and technique I like to share with my students is so quick and easy. Go to your background layer, click and hold on this lock, and drag it to the trash can. That converts this to a regular layer. Instead of a background layer, it's now a normal regular layer. Since it's a regular layer, we can then use a layer mask on it. So click Layer Mask and then say Reveal Selection. Ta-da! Now the layer mask then removes out all the blue sky and we just are left with the palm tree itself. Cool. Now that we have the palm tree isolated, go to your crop tool, select that, and we can now tell Photoshop that we just want only the palm tree area of the image, and we're going to convert this directly over to a brush. And so press return, or you can click the commit button up on the option bar up here, and there it is. To make it into a brush, say edit, and then define brush preset. There it is. Ta-da! And now Photoshop shows you the brush, what it's going to look like, the palm tree there. Give it a name such as palm tree, and then click directly on OK. Ta-da! If you go directly to the brush palette, you can now see your brush right there in the screen. How cool is that? Now, let's go ahead and show you some cool things you can do with this. I'm going to create a brand new image here and make sure this is red, green, blue. It's a color image. And let's make it about 800 pixels by about 500 pixels. Okay. And I'm going to put directly on in here a nice gradient. So let's go ahead and do a nice blue to white. And let's go ahead and put this right on into the sky. Nice blue to white. Now we're going to put a new layer here. Let's do some sand. Do some nice little sand here. And hey, you don't have to have the greatest drawing skills. We're just doing something very fun and simple here for you, just to illustrate a concept. And I'm going to fill that right on in. Now, we can then put in another layer in here, and we're going to then go to our brush tool. Click our palm tree. And let's go ahead and use maybe black. You can then draw in all kinds of palms as you want, and you can size them to different sizes. Maybe even a few small ones. Background. Whatever you want to do. It's your artwork. You do exactly what you want with it. But as you can see, the possibilities of taking images from photography, converting them into brushes, you can do amazing things. It's unlimited, basically.